All right, so you've got your bees, or you've ordered your bees. You know where to put your hive. Now we need to figure out putting one together. So there's two ways you can buy a hive. One, you can buy one pre-built. Save you a little bit of money if you build it yourself. I think it's really good to learn how to build one yourself. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna build one, and I actually have a special box here that was sent to me by Vevor. So we'll go over that box too and some of the features of it. But really, a beehive is a beehive is a beehive. You can see these are all the hive boxes that I have in the house. Well, this is a big stack of them. I have some more over here, but we won't worry about those. But we built all of these ourselves, and some of them we painted, some of them are wax dipped, whatever. We'll go over that here too. But you can see all of these have been built, and we even, if I reach up in here, build all the frames ourselves too. So we'll go over all of that. So the benefit of painting a hive versus what's called a wax dipped hive, like this hive right here is dipped in wax, so it's weather protected. You can, if you paint them, you're really painting them, you can do whatever color you want, but it's really all about protecting the wood so that it lasts longer. If you set that hive out there, one of these hives that's no protection on it at all, within a year, maybe two, it'd be rotted. And I've got some here that are 3 years old now. They're doing fine. We've got some at the farm that are 5 years old that are still holding strong. So you can see it's just part of it. But you can do whatever you want. So I like painting my hives here. I have this big paint up here. You can see it's exterior satin. So exterior grade is what you want. I got that big jar for $5. I just go to Lowe's or Home Depot, and whatever is a mist tint, you can get it really cheap. All of these bright colors I paid for. I bought like a quart. And a quart jar, the small cans will do probably a double deep and a medium, maybe times two. So you could probably get 2 hives painted out of it. Problem is it's $20 for a quart, and I paid like $5 or $10 for a gallon. I get a lot out of that. So, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. I'm not here to tell you about price. I'm just here to tell you about building the hive. So this is how it all starts out. It's just in pieces. So you've got your hive body, and then you get your foundation. So this is plastic foundation. You can also get a wax foundation, but now it's more and more common to get plastic, which is unfortunate. And there's an extra step you have to do, but we'll do that in this video too. And then over here is all the parts for the frames, which can be a real pain in the butt, but I'm gonna make it really easy for you to build them. And then you're gonna need some glue. So I use a very specific glue here. Let's see if I can get you this is exactly what you need to get and nothing different. So we use the Tight Bond waterproof exterior glue. That's what we use. You gotta remember, these are gonna be sitting outside all year, so you really want that tight bond. And it's not 100% necessary. These are called dovetail joints, and they hold the box pretty good, or really good actually, but the glue is just an extra portion to hold it together, so just insurance. And then we have our glue. You're also going to need a rubber mallet. Very important to use a rubber mallet, and a square. So you're gonna need that, and you're not gonna do anything crazy with this. We're just gonna make sure that it's a right angle. I hate those hooks. And then sometimes you need a drill, and if we need one for this one, we'll use it. And then for the frames, you're going to need wax. Okay, so we're gonna have to wax these frames. And this is all wax that I've melted down. This is a hidden cost of beekeeping, is buying wax. I'm gonna go ahead and forewarn you. If you're gonna use plastic frames, you have to put a healthy amount of wax on it. End of story. If you don't, the bees will not use the frames appropriately. They may not build on them at all. They may build little spotty combs, which isn't good. And you'll see in the descriptions pre-waxed, and you can feel there's a little bit on here. It is nowhere near enough. And I'm gonna show you how much we put on. We went through this last year, because if you're getting into beekeeping now, you're gonna learn really fast that comb is king If you don't have comb, you don't have a place for bees to put eggs, honey, anything, food, nothing. You have to get comb. And this is the big problem when you get started, is building comb. So you're always trying to build comb. So the first step in building comb, and we'll do a whole video about building comb very soon, is getting your foundation right. This part of the process is pretty simple. All you're gonna do is you're gonna put glue anywhere where the joints meet. So in these gaps here, and you don't have to put a big, huge glob in. You just gotta get enough, and that's actually too much. Just a little dab will do you. Because once you put this together, it will dry, the glue will dry in there, and then it will continue to hold that bond. So here's our edge of our box. You're just gonna take the other side, and you are going to line it up, which I don't know, this one is a little bit different, but that's okay. Let's see. The first one's always a pain. There we go. And so you get it in there, and then you just got to take your mallet and that's it. So you just want to make sure that it's pushed all the way in, but at this point it won't be. So all you got to do is just put it down and give the top a tap, and then it goes in. I'm going to put the rest of the box together, and then I'm going to show you before it's all done how to use that square to get everything in there. And this is just a double check moment. So we got our box put together here, and then we've got our square, and all you do with this is I'm just going to put it right here. And you can see there's a little bit of a gap here. And so we can just kind of move it over. Trying to do it one-handed isn't very well, but you want it to be even all the way around. That means it's at a 90-degree angle. So when you put it on your other hives, it'll fit. So usually what happens, and I'm going to get into this specific box in a second, but usually what happens is there's screws to put in here as well to kind of lock it into place so you don't get that little bit of jankiness. This box didn't come with it. I'll go over this box in a second, but what I did is I did holes. I just put it in here and here, and I'll put in screws to lock it into place so that when the glue dries and everything, it's not wobbly back and forth. It's normal for that. Take you over here, you can see all these boxes have some kind of screw or nail or something in them to some extent. So we're gonna lock that one into place. And it's every single box I've put together many, many hives, and they all have something holding it in place. Like I said, this is a Vevor hive. Vevor, V-E-V-O-R. You can see it upside down, but it works out good. This is a medium size. So no, it's a deep. Yeah, that's a deep. So this is what the main bees would be in. It's wax dipped, which is good. It's not as heavily wax dipped as some of the other hives, so I don't know how long this will last, but it does have wax on it. You can see, well, maybe you can't see, but there's wax on it. The joints are pretty good. Like I said, I don't like the fact that it didn't have holes for screws, but that's easily fixed. So we can see now it doesn't wobble or anything like that. This one has this viewing window in it. So if you can look in there if you want. I don't know about this feature at all. I'm not sure if it's going to be what we want it to be or not. It definitely, I mean, if you want to view in there, you can. Say this, if you want to view in your hives, first of all, go look in your hives. But second of all, the one thing is that the frames on the outside of the hive itself usually are the last ones to get filled, and they'll typically have food in them, meaning honey or pollen, depending on the time of year. So if you pull this off and we look at it and it's like, hey, okay, you may or may not see anything. It's not going to give you the view into the hive that you're thinking that it will. So I don't know how it'll work. One other issue I have with this design is if you lived in a really cold area, you could get in the winter time, cold air could come in through here, through these cracks. So I don't really know how that will affect, but I don't know how much of a problem that's going to be. I know that if it gets a draft in there, it can kill your bees in the winter time. So there is that portion of it. But as a whole, it seems like it's a hive body. There's things to look out for in quality, which is the amount of knots you see in it, which can be weak points for rot and stuff to get in. So you just want to be careful with that. I wouldn't overthink it too much. But if you come in here, so right around this right here, this is where the air could come in. Now over the summer, the bees will propolis this in. They will put their glue in, and this thing will be airtight. They'll go through and they'll seal all these gaps and stuff like this. So we build it now, and then you let it, the glue dries in a couple hours or whatever. But once you put it on, they will start putting propolis in all these cracks and really seal it up. That stuff is like glue. So this is it's not too bad. I like having handles on the sides of the hives. If you come over here, you can see you've got handles going all the way around these boxes, so it's easier to grab. But it's not the end of the world. You just have to remember, like, grab it in the front and back, So otherwise, it seems like a pretty decent hive. Vevor sent this to me. They wanted me to review it. I'm giving it a review. Would I go out and buy this as my main hive body? I don't know, because I don't know the effects of that window. But at the same time, it's not overly priced. It's good on it, from what I can tell. I think the wax is lacking a little bit. So what may end up happening is if that wax comes off, I may just have to repaint it. I'm not going to re-wax this hive. I'm just going to probably repaint it if I have to. But we're just going to run it and see what happens. I do want to show you the frame building process, because that's a little bit tricky. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take this, and all I'm going to do to test this out to see if the size is right is I'm going to go set it on one of those boxes. As you can see, all of those are different hives from all over the place, and they all stack on top of each other within reason. I'm sure it's going to be fine. This is a Langstroth hive. It's a very standard frame size or box size, so it shouldn't be an issue, but we're going to double check it and go from there. Other than that, let's build these frames out. I'll show you the trick to do it to make it faster and way easier, and then you can go from there. Okay. So when you build the frames, you've got to nail nails in, okay? So these are the nails that everybody gives you. You use a hammer and you nail them in. If you're putting a frame together, like let's say you get one box and you put it together, that's gonna be 40 nails into this very small, thin wood right here. So I did it one time and I said no more. I got like 2 nails in and I left. And I went and I made the best purchase I ever made. If you think about it, you're building a double deep, double medium box. You're gonna need to do like 160, I think that's the rough math there. Yeah, 160 nails in there, and it's very time consuming. So what I did to Harbor Freight, and I got this cheap brad nailer here. So very cheap. I'll show you what it uses. Uses these little nails here, and it speeds it up. It's an absolute must for this. This was $20 for the gun, and then the nails were like 15 bucks, of course, but I got enough nails to last me a couple years probably. You do need an air compressor. I'm not one of those. I hate it when people on YouTube are like, hey, it's so easy. I had this laser engraver sitting around and I was able to shoot through the moon and pull it out. Like, no. Like, I get it if you don't have it, but if you're really getting into beekeeping, you can get a small compressor or something like that. You could even go get like a battery operated nail gun. They cost, I think, roughly about 100 bucks. You'd have to have some batteries. Like Ryobi's got a pretty decent one. Craftsman got a pretty decent one. And you could get the job done. It is so much faster than doing it with a hammer. You don't hit your fingers. You don't mess anything up. It's pretty simple. And like I said, it speeds it up so much, it's worth it. But I also understand if you only have like one hive, maybe two, and you're building that's it, you may not need it, but this is how I do it, and this has sped it up so much. So let me show you how this frame building process goes. A frame building rack, if you say, that will actually help speed up the process. But I find that this isn't bad and it saves you a little bit of money. So all I do is I lay my parts out. Here's your top bar, here's your bottom bar, and here's your side bars. There may be a different term for them, I don't know, doesn't matter. The thicker one is the top, so you lay it down so the groove is facing up. Put a little bit of glue right there, and a little bit of glue right here. And then we're gonna take our bars, big side down, and put it on. Very simple process. You don't really need a hammer or anything typically unless they're not cut right, which looks like this may be an issue. Yeah, so this isn't cut right. So Vevor's machining is a little bit off. Yeah, you can see here. See how thick that is compared to that side? So that's definitely a ding in the putting together process. But when you get one that fits, you just put it right on. I've actually got extra sidebars that I can use, so I can just throw those out. If hopefully there's not too many like that. You put them on. You put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and then your bottom bar goes bottom, so the groove here, because this is what your foundation will sit in, goes down. You put that on. Now if this doesn't fit, I'm screwed. Looks like I might be screwed. No, it's just a tight fit, which isn't bad. It's not bad that it's a tight fit. And so once that's in, you're gonna put one nail here, one nail here, and then I put two in the top. I missed both of those, so there we go. So I put together one previously so we could slide this foundation in. And I'll show you, sliding the foundation is actually not bad. I thought it was gonna be terrible when I first did it, and it's really not bad, especially with this. If you have wax foundation, it's a little bit different, a lot different, but typically you're gonna get, unless you search it out at this point in the game, you're just gonna get plastic foundation. So I put it in the top here, and then all you do is you just push with your thumbs. Can you see? Yeah. Just push it in so it pops into that groove. And now that frame is done, except for we have to put the wax on it, which we will do in a second. Okay. So the most important part here is the waxing. So we got all these built, and wouldn't you know it, I found another one of these that was not cut right. So you can see this was a little too big. Let's see if I get a black background. A little too big so it wouldn't fit in. Thankfully I had two from another beehive left over that I did. So I obviously replaced them. We'll say this about Vevor. I'm sure, and I mean, don't take my word for it, but if you were to buy one of these deep frames, which there'll be a link in the description for it, deep boxes or even a medium box, and you were to come across that and you emailed it, I'm sure they would send you new ones. It's a mistake. I've had other companies make mistakes and they usually make it right. So it's not that big a deal. You know, this isn't much to ship, so I don't know for a fact, but I would imagine they would take care of it. I sure would if I was running a business, but what can I say? So we've got a little crock pot here. We melt our wax. And then here we have a foam brush. This actually head needs to be replaced, but it'll be all right for now. And so we want to put a coat on both sides of this, real thick coat. So let me show you that. The problem with these projects is they take up a lot of space. So, and then you just roll it on nice and thick. Don't be stingy with the wax. Put it on nice and thick. And the thing about the wax is you don't want to buy some cheap, crappy wax. You want to get actual beeswax. So a lot of people may want to get it off Amazon, and you definitely can. I buy my wax from Man Lake. So, but you see how that looks? And you've got it all nice and filled in. Cools pretty quick. So, and then the bees will be able to use the wax as they need, help build a base for their beehive. See this right here? If I left this like this, I guarantee you there would be nothing built on it. So I'm gonna come back and put a little bit more on right there, because the goal is to get wax from wall to wall, get comb built from wall to wall in every frame. And you just keep going down the line. Doesn't take long with this method. Now, it does cost money to buy wax, so keep that in mind. The first year you do it, until you start getting harvest, you're gonna have to buy for every hive that you built. But once you start getting good harvest, you can actually melt your own wax down from your cappings and stuff like that. So this is definitely got some wax that I have melted down. There's some that I purchased in here. I just took a frame and trimmed it, and so I just threw the wax cappings in there and melted it down to go in. So, you know, there may be a couple pieces and parts of stuff in there. You can see it in there, but it's not a big deal for this. If I was making like lip gloss or lip balm, chapstick or something like that, I wouldn't put it in there. But for this, it's not a big deal. The bees are going to use it and be happy with it. And this absolutely helps you get that nice, pretty comb. So, biggest test, it fits on another box, so that's good. Everything is wax, you can see. So we are good to go. Couple things about melting wax. You see I have this bottle of water here. When you put a block in, just pour half a cup or so of water in just to help keep it from burning, and cook it on low. So that will help with that too. And let's see. Well, you can see that it's black in there, so that's good. And I think there's actually a film on here I need to take off, which will make it a little bit more clear. But either way, you know, I don't know if this is just a gimmick or what, but we'll take it. We'll see what we can see and we'll bring it to you. How you build a box for bees. Saves money buying it, easier to ship, cheaper to ship, and overall it's a good thing to know how to do, because if you're getting into beekeeping, you're probably like me, wanted 2 hives, and now we're up to like 20 between here and our farm. So, you know, we've got a lot of beehives, and that's not even a lot, but we're building hives every year. I typically do this in the wintertime, but this is how you get them ready for bees. This box at this point I can put it on a hive right now. I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit. I don't have a hive that's ready for another deep, but there will be soon. So we'll throw this on and we will bring you updates on how this window works out. But yeah, I've used Vevor stuff before and it's not that bad. Other than the frame thing, otherwise everything else was pretty good about the hive. You know, use it if you want. Use the link below. Probably a good deal. I don't buy a hive from any certain place typically, and I don't avoid anywhere. So I wouldn't avoid Vevor either, but I go by who's got the best price. Because when it comes down to it, for the most part, a Langstroth hive is a Langstroth hive is a Langstroth hive. Goodbye.